Good afternoon and welcome to GSMA APAC M360 Diversity in Tech Summit. You are in the right place. I'm the only male speaker, but I'm just here to introduce you and just give you some context about how important diversity in tech is for the GSMA and for my team and myself. So we do events all around the region throughout the year and training for tech for girls and things like that. But APAC M360 is where we have our key regional event. And today, I think this one is a very special one in that. Diversity in tech has always been an important thing for me. I grew up in a family with 4 sisters and 4 brothers. All the girls went to university and the guys didn't go to university. But that was only the start of my career. And why today is so important to me is 15 years ago, I got on a plane in Dubai and a couple of hours later got off at an airport in Kabul and spent a few days there and spent a couple of trips there over the following year or two. And that was about 15 years ago. And it is, I think, a very unique experience and it had a big effect on me. And I remember very much everything I did there at the time. And I've been in a lot of other countries where you can develop your own opinions about cultural and society norms. But Kabul was certainly one that stands out in my history. From a GSMA point of view and my team, they've done a great amount of work, and I will very quickly finish my little introduction because the rest of it is at the efforts of their sweat and networking and meeting people, and from our partners as well, from our sponsors, but also a lot of the people and organisations who you'll see and in today's chat and maybe in the chat room, which you can participate in, are people who've really come together to help us put this event together. And so I have the greatest honor of introducing our guest speaker, who is, and I know I'm going to say this, hopefully I'm right, Ms. Masuma Kawari, who is the former ICT Minister of Afghanistan, only up until very recently, about 6 weeks ago, 6 or 8 weeks ago. She had to leave the country as the country, as everyone would know, changed hands. But by then, she had already become the youngest minister, the only female ICT minister, and one of the only female ICT ministers in that region ever. And she was leading the digital transformation of the country. And, you know, from the mobile operators and our partners and members in the country, we could really see things were starting to move in the right direction. And some real progress was being made. So without taking up any more time, I would like to hand over to the interview with Ms. Wari and let you experience and be inspired what she went through to help drive a country forward digitally, and from now continues to work towards that goal from outside the borders. So over to you.
Hello everyone, I'm Jeanette White, GSMA's Head of Public Policy for APAC. I'm truly honoured to host the keynote session at the M360 APAC Diversity for Tech event and to welcome you to hear about the incredible achievements of Masuma Kawari, the first woman and former Minister of Communications and Information Technology in Afghanistan. Masuma, welcome to the GSMA M360 Diversity for Tech event. My colleague Sarah, GSMA's country lead for digital transformation in Pakistan, and I first met you 4 months ago in Barcelona at the ministerial program at Mobile World Congress, where you led Afghanistan's delegation. Everyone who met you was inspired by the achievements you have accomplished. Your vision and policies for social change to transform and strengthen Afghanistan's digital agenda. I'm now just going to share a few photographs that we captured at Barcelona so that the audience can see what we did together. So here, this is a photograph here of us having Ms. Masuma having a discussion with the Pakistan delegation where they come up with some good agreements to work together in collaboration going forward. The next picture. This is when we were in the meeting, Masuma. Do you remember this? And we were talking about you told us about what plans you were doing, and then we were talking about how we could work together on spectrum and do some capacity building. The next one. And this is a formal photograph. As you see, we're here without our masks because we're separated enough so that we could do that. In the other pictures, we had our masks on. So I hope that brings some nice memories back for you. It certainly does for me. So today, we would like you to share with the audience some of the challenges that you've had to overcome in being a woman leader in Afghanistan, the initiatives you've implemented when in office, and now after the recent events, your plans for the future. So I'm going to hand over to Sarah to ask the first question. Over to you, Sarah.
Thank you, Jeanette. And thank you for bringing back all these memories. I still cherish them, the first meeting that we had with Ms. Masuma. And I would then start off with my first question to Ms. Masuma. As a minority and the first woman to hold a government office as a Minister for Communication and IT in Afghanistan, what challenges did you face and how did you overcome them?
First of all, I would like to share my greetings and warm wishes with you all. Thank you so much to you, Janet, and rest of the colleagues at GSMA for organizing such a prestigious event and giving me the opportunity to share my experience with the viewers and participants. My sympathy and condolence to the Afghan families who have lost their loved one due to the recent unfortunate event, and I hope peace and stability can prevail across the country as we need it the most. Coming to your question, I joined the Ministry of Communication as the first female and youngest minister in September 2020. There were certainly major challenges that I was ready to face, such as the gender-based mindset of men, lack of confidence of some staff members, need to build a good, trustworthy, and technical team, basis of absence of coordination with relevant agencies, and adjustment of the ministry with its new TR and organizational structure. I believe the key to solve any problem is conducting its detailed analysis, assigning tasks to the relevant person or team, setting the deadline and expecting the results. Within 5 months, I managed to hire some trustworthy and qualified employees as my close team. Made my office more available for the staff so they can share their concerns, and in return, I gain their trust. I employed a specific staff members to work on bridging the gaps with relevant agencies such as ATRA, National Procurement Agency, Ministry of Finance, donor agencies, and MNOs. After 11 months, we were ready to launch some major projects such as the establishment of national data center as per the international standards, and which can answer our demands for next 15 to 20 years. New project to promote regional connectivity and transit of data. Enhancement of national internet exchange points. Digitalization of Afghan government offices and its activities, and any more. I also started working on developing a 3-year strategy for the ministry so that the vision and mission of the ministry is clear for our staff and outside agencies as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Masuma. What an astonishing achievement to be the first female and youngest minister. We want to just share a photograph of when you were appointed as minister. Can we just see the photograph? It's clear that everyone was very happy to see you appointed as minister. Okay, so to achieve your goals, one of the first tasks was to build a great team of trustworthy and qualified employees as one of your first activities. And here today, we have Hashim Pashton. Great to have you here with us today.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. One of the things when I was listening to you, Masuma, was that one of your strategies to achieve your goals was engaging with relevant stakeholders, other government departments, regulators, industry, and civil society. From GSMA's research, we found that policymakers that adopt this, what we call whole of government approach, have been more successful in achieving an inclusive digital society. And it certainly appears the achievements you've made in a short period of time that the whole of government approach worked for you. Okay, so I'm going to go on to the next question, if I may now, and I'd like to explore that when you were in office, what were some of the key initiatives that you implemented to encourage young girls and women to consider a career in ICT?
One of my major agendas in office was to promote Afghan women to take active part in the ICT sector. I supported the gender department wholeheartedly. With the support of World Bank, we managed to establish a program where fresh female graduates from ICT faculties are here as interns for 9 months. 18 fresh graduates were going to be paid and support. Additionally, we managed to sign MOU with different universities where the students establish, especially female students, are provide free seminars and workshops from our experienced technical staff members, and students can also be assist in their research project for bachelor's and master's program. Additionally, with the assistance of French Embassy in Kabul, we were planning to establish a coding school to help the young girls learn the coding in the best way possible. We were also in the middle of project execution, which could connect more than 400 schools via internet. Workers in the remote areas can have access to learning materials. Along with the Ministry of Women and Human Rights Commission, we established a call center which can take the complaints from women who face violence at home or at work, and those reports were direct to the Ministry of Interior Affairs for immediate action. With the establishment of specific departments for promoting digital literacy and science and innovation, my priority was to support them and manage to finalize the plan for building a center of excellences, which will be home to various training programs and supporting activities towards science and innovation as well. Along with Ministry of Education and Ministry of Higher Education, we lobbied to include a course in the name of digital literacy or basis of ICT. So that young students attain basic knowledge, and this will also help to gain their interest into the ICT sector. On the policy and regulation side, we managed to get the cybersecurity law approved by the government judicial committee, and it became active. Additionally, we finalized the law that assures the security of women and their identity in cyberspace.
Wow, Masuma, this is quite remarkable to have implemented so many initiatives and to have so many in the pipeline that you'd like to continue to do. To provide opportunities for girls and women to feel safe and secure in developing skills in ICT so that they can fully participate in society as well as have confidence to build a career in ICT. I see once again that your ability to work collaboratively and in partnership with organizations has enabled you to achieve your goals. So let's just move on a little bit, and now that things have changed, now that the government has changed, you're no longer living in Afghanistan and you're not a cabinet member anymore. How are you planning to continue with your plans and activities?
Our purpose is higher than a government, and it is about serving the people in any capacity possible. I'm still connected with some of our colleagues in Afghanistan, Kabul, and other provinces. We are committed to establish an organization which can support the agenda of MCIT and execute those projects which are implementable in Afghanistan without the need of direct intervention of approval of the government. One of the examples for our planned projects is establishing training center for promoting digital literacy among Afghan women. I have a great connection with some talent Afghans across the country that totally dedicate to serve in the areas of ICT development in Afghanistan.
Wow, this seems a massive, well, not seems, it is a massive challenge for you. Your proven track record of achieving outstanding results, your commitment to serving the people of Afghanistan, and your ability to work again in collaboration, in my view, provides all the right ingredients for you to continue to make and achieve positive outcomes for Afghan women. So to my final question, what future do you see for girls and women in Afghanistan? What would you want to do to support women in Afghanistan? And importantly, how can the participants in this webinar and the wider international community help?
Afghan women have overruled many limitations and restrictions in the past as well. They are committed and dedicated to find ways to break the shackles and attain their goals. They just need the platform and accessories, and we will make sure that we provide them those facilities that they want. We are planning to connect with those Afghan girls and women who are deprived to go to a school and university so they can get access to online education. We are also planning to support the Afghan private sector and entrepreneurs so that they are on track. Developing and also provide the services to the local residents. We certainly need technical assistance, human resource, and financial support, and we request the international community to assist us in the ambitious journey.
On the behalf of the GSMA, we look forward to working with you on your ambitious journey. And for Sarah and I think I can say this, Sarah, we look to continue our friendship with you. So before we close, Masuma, would you like to say a few words to the people of Afghanistan?
Yes. Can we talk in Dari?
Yes, please do. Yes, so I think they will probably, it would be nice for them to understand that as well. Yes, please do.
Thank you, Janet. ما میخوایم بگوییم که در هر موقع و در هر جایی که هستیم قلب ما برای افغانستان میتپه و ما میخوایم که خدمات را دوامدار از هر موقفی که باشه ادامه بدیم برای جوانان، برای زنان و دخترانی که واقعا آینده ساز برای افغانستان هستند. میخوایم خدمات را هنوز دوام بدیم و ادامه بدیم. این وظیفه ماست و ما سعی میکنیم برای وطن از هر جایی که باشیم خدمت بکنیم. تشکر از همه‌تون.
Her Excellency is mentioning that wherever I am, in which capacity, in any position I am, my heart beats for Afghanistan, for its people. And I'm committed to serve the people, especially the young commit, and I promise that I will certainly serve the people. The service and with the contribution of the international community, I assure you that we will provide all the services that they need and they are desperate for.
Thank you both. So this is before we come to the panel session. I'm going to invite Candice Johnson to say her few words about who's the founding president of the Global Telecom Women's Network, to say a few words. So with that, over to you, Candice.
Honor to follow Masuma and her incredible activities as a powerful woman in ICT. Masuma, you have shown that you are not a position. You are a force to be reckoned with. And you are leading not only women in Afghanistan and young girls in Afghanistan to discover the power that is in the ICT and TMT industries that will change their lives and that will make them better. You are doing this for all of the world. And when we heard your story that Jeanette shared with us, the Global Telecom Women's Network banded together and said, we have to support this woman in her initiative, in her global, in her peaceful initiative. And for that reason, we have invited you, and we're looking forward to welcoming you to the Mobile World Congress next February 28th in Barcelona, where you will be one of our keynote speakers at our 30th anniversary reception, where you will also be a contributor to our GTWN publication. The GTWN has worked for over 30 years with the GSMA, and we have been proud to accompany them as the GSMA started the M Women, M Power, M Connect, and we are not at all surprised that they would have sought you out, Masuma. Please know that just as you had instilled trust and courage in all of the people that were working with you, you have also inspired us. You have served as a role model. You will continue to do so. And that we, the Global Telecom Women's Network, the GSMA, and all of our own networks are supporting you. I think it's very important too to realize that whereas we all have organizations that we work with, personal initiative and personal responsibility is kind of what changes the world. And certainly you have shown that, and we will follow your lead as much as we can in bringing together the technical assistance that you have asked for in making certain, whether it be through mobile, whether it be through satellites, whether it be through Raspberry Pi, whatever, smartphones, that the young women, not only in Afghanistan, but throughout the world, will use TMT, ICT to help sustain our world, to keep the goals of the United Nations, to work together across borders, and to make our world better, and to keep humanity always at the focus of our work. Congratulations, Musuma. Congratulations to the GSMA. We at the GTWN are so proud to be working together with you. Thank you.
Today, we are excited to welcome you to the fireside chat with incredible women leaders who champion digital initiatives in their organization and community. Digital inclusion is a very important topic, especially when there's a huge digital divide in the Asia and Pacific region. And we need digital transformation to drive the change at national and regional level. And this is why I'm actually excited to moderate today's panel discussion, because we have these amazing women driving change and also reducing the digital gender gap in their communities. So today I have the pleasure of introducing you to our lovely panelists. Let me start by introducing you to Sharala Exri. She is the founder and chief executive officer for the Center of Applied Data Science. Caroline Yin Yin Te, Group Chief Financial Officer for AP Towers. Nischala Murthy Kaushik, who is the Chief Marketing Officer for HFS Research. We also have Chloe Lim, Director of Global Customer Marketing for APAC, Asia Pacific, Facebook. Their full bio and profile is available on the GSMA website and also available on GSMA LinkedIn page. So ladies, I hope you're all feeling great today. I hope you have coffee, water, and tea next to you. I will ask you all some key questions. We'll start with Sharala. What do you believe is the key to successful digital transformation and leadership? And what is your leadership style?
Hi, Andrew. Awesome meeting all of y'all here. Wow, that's a heavy question. I thought you told us to keep it light. I loved it when Masuma was talking about ICT and data literacy in hand to hand, and I think that's an important point that I have to make. That when we talk about digital leadership and we talked about what is happening around this region, you know that digital leadership comes with data literacy as a core skill that everybody needs to know. And coming from GSMA, telco data, it enables data for everybody to have that. So I think what happens with a lot of organization, and telco has been there for what, hundreds of years. I mean, they must be the oldest industry ever. And every leaders that you have in telcos are about what? You could have them up to 60 years in the workforce, and getting them to become digital leaders has always been the biggest challenge a lot of companies have faced, right? So that's a huge transformation, getting, I call people like me, old people, to think new with the 21st century, yeah? And what's my style? If you can see the clock now, it's early in the morning. I'm Asian. I live in Malaysia, but I'm in Sweden, yeah? So one of the things that I've learned many, many years living in Sweden and going back home and starting analytics as the reason I even started CATS was to, a big task, future-proof the world, because you said in ASEAN and in Asia, the biggest drive or the stopper for us to become the fourth largest GDP in the world is not having enough digital talent skills. And we started Analytics CAT, Center of Applied Data Science, to able to address that. So when I came back and I did that, one of my biggest learning from Sweden was trust. You know, everything that we do in the company is trust-based, right? We trust you to do your job. We don't care about 9 to 5. You know, it works amazingly well for the young people. You know, not so much for my dad, who assumes that I have to be work by 8, 9 o'clock and finish work by 5. Yeah. So that's always been my style. And, you know, if you're required to be up at 3 o'clock to do your job, then do, right? Because you're not required to be in the office at 9. So it's always
Great.
been on trust-based and purpose-based. So, yeah.
I like that. Trust and purpose-based. I hope everyone is listening to that. And Caroline, what about you? What is the key to successful digital leadership, and what is your leadership style?
Yeah. So let's say before we start this heavy topic called digital leadership, let's think about, take a pause. What we have been, all of us has been go through over the past 1 year. Everyone was hit by COVID. Then we cannot go to work. Our daily life, everything was disrupted. So I think every organization, they have to adopt their business ecosystem towards digital. Whether you have planned, you are unplanned, everything have to adopt on the digital journey, right? So this is how important for us in the digital society, especially in this work from home. I think since we are all women as well, everyone is so hard to manage work from home with work as well as the family at the same time during the COVID. So this is how all your leadership capability was turning up, how you're going to manage your work and team, as well as your family to go through this challenging time. So this is, I think, is a very, very good topic. I think we can discuss here as well, especially all our working ladies and working females here, right? Then I think I would like to also share with you a bit about my digital, what I think about the digital leadership. Whenever we talk about digital transformation, I don't believe this is like to invest a huge amount of dollar to invest into the new system and etc. That is not a digital transformation. For me, as a leader to do the digital transformation, what we need to do is we need to approach all the problem with our open mind. How we were going to solve the problem with a more easier with the help of the technology. Nowadays, just now, I think I hear Shara is talking about a lot on the data analytics. I'm so happy because as a finance, my direction towards my team is how we were going to do data analytics, AI tool, to really increase our capability and productivity. That is the role of the digital leadership. And like Shara said, very good point, is a trust. Yes, especially in our remote working setup, we need to have a trust to our team. Without trust, I think this work from home arrangement will not work. That is for sure. And then like, yes, of course, I need to trust my team. And another point, I am a strong believer of situational leadership style. There is no fixed leadership style for us. Sometimes I need to be autocratic. Sometimes I need to be a coach. And sometimes I need to practice as a participative leadership. It depends on the situation because everything has a pros and cons. So I think as a leader, especially female leader who are in that management position, we need to fine-tune in our leadership style, especially when we are about to implement something as a digital transformations. I think in Myanmar is a very interestingly. I did a few years back, I came back to Myanmar. Previously, I was in Singapore. Over my career, I work in startup, I work in Motorola. All my life, I've been in different part of the telco, right? So I think I came back in 2013 to be part of this, our country into the next mobile journey. Then we faced a lot of challenges, especially the ICT gap. People don't know what is the ERP system. Everything is so manual with the ledger books, they record every data. So I need to push them into the digital journey. And this is a very fulfilling job for me because I believe myself that I can be the bridge between my own country with the knowledge or experience I bring back from Singapore. So this is what I think I've been doing here over the past 7 years, and I stay doing it day to day. And like in Myanmar, ladies, female are very innovative because during this pandemic, they really use a lot of Facebook to promote the online marketing. Small businesses are starting up. So this is how technology is really impacting our female life into the digital transformation journey, knowingly or unknowingly for us. So as a leader, I think I would like to also stress into like one of the quote that my favorite quote for my previous organization CEO. He always say, as a leader, especially you would like to implement the digital transformation, you need to have a 4E. For this, you need to explore things. Without exploration, you cannot get anything, you cannot know. Another thing is that you need to engage. Engage all the people in your organizations, inside, outside, everyone. Then the third thing he said, what I think Shara also I think touched upon is you need to empower people. You cannot do alone. You need a good team, then you give them the empowerment. And fourth thing he always say is the execution. Because you can have a very good strategy, but sometimes strategy cannot implemented because of the, I think, imperfect execution. So this E4 I always keep in my mind whenever I were going to have a digital leadership journey. So this is like, but I stress again, there's no fixed leadership style for me. Everything is a situation. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Caroline. I like that you say that digital journey is different for everyone, especially during COVID. And I think I can also attest to that because I live in a small island country. So we've also had a lot of had changes in terms of leadership style. And I like how you reiterate what Sharala said. Trust is very key and making sure leadership is very participatory. And I like what you said about the 4 E's. I think that is super important. So maybe you could type that on the chat and so that everyone can see it. Nishala, what do you think is the key to successful digital leadership, and what is your leadership style?
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Good evening. Thank you, Anju, for having me here. Before I answer that question, I just want to sort of call out what I believe are maybe the most important aspects of, let's say, digital leadership or just living in the digital era, right? I think that becomes important for all of us to set a level playing ground in understanding what it means, because digital is a word which is used so much by so many of us in very different contexts, and we all understand it differently. To me, fundamentally, if I have to just simplify it to explain it to like a 5 or a 6-year-old, I just feel what is core to digital leadership is our ability to navigate speed of change in an effective and impactful manner, right? Because that is core to, if you talk about digital transformation, digital change, digital technologies, digital solutions, digital processes, it is just that the pace at which we are changing is kind of, mind-boggling, right? So I feel what is important for all of us as leaders in today's era, no matter what role you play, is the importance of listening, right? And I feel that is extremely, extremely important. And by listening, what I mean is you need to listen to your team. You need to listen to your colleagues and peers. You need to listen to your leadership. You need to listen to the voice of your customer, right? And that is obviously very much specific to, let's say, your industry, your segment. It could be B2B, B2C, product, services, IT, non-IT, whatever, organization you are in, and whatever your core business is, it is important to listen to the voice of your customer. And third is also to listen to the voice of the industry, right? Because that is where you get a sense of how the industry is moving. And I'm using industry very loosely, right? This could mean about how, let's say, technology innovation is happening, what is happening in the startup ecosystem, what is happening to your competition, right? Mm-hmm. And today, it is hard to say what business, let's say, Apple is in, right? Because, they are kind of pervasive and they are everywhere, right? Similarly, it is hard to say exactly what business Facebook is in, because they're coming up with so much innovative products and services and solutions that if you do a competitor analysis, Facebook can feature for so many organizations. So I think the first and most important thing is the importance of listening. And once you listen, I think what becomes important is to craft your own long-term strategy based on how you see your organization's survival, success, and sustenance. But while you have a long-term vision, I think what is extremely important for digital leaders is to focus on short-term execution, right? Because all our jobs and are based on what we deliver every month or every quarter. Because it is a competitive world, and business is driven and measured on performance. So I think somewhere importance of listening. importance of strategic thinking and planning, but also laser sharp focus on execution and delivering results in the short term is what I feel is absolutely essential for successful digital leadership. Now, if I have to answer the second part of your question, I feel as leaders, the most important thing we all do is decision making, right? It is fundamentally that, right? You can make decisions on hiring, on technology, on process, on firing, on products, services, solutions. You can choose whatever aspect. The most important thing we all do as leaders, no matter where we are, where we live, which companies we lead, is decision making. Now, the point about decision making, which has changed in all our lives in the last 12 to 18 months, is the absence of past precedents or data for us to lean in on, right? So decision making is, to me, a combination of using data and using your instinct or intuition, right? So I feel somewhere for being successful as digital leaders, we should be able to marry the usage of data where there is adequate past experience or precedence, but also have the foresight to look at what is it that we need to do, which is right for the future, while nobody has a clue of what the future could hold for any of us, right? So it is a combination of using data and instinct, which I feel is going to be key for successful leadership. So I feel, that is extremely important. I also feel another very, very important aspect, thanks to COVID, is just the access that all of us have to, global talent across the world. Right, we all can tap into people sitting in different parts of the world, provided they have the right skills and the right expertise to deliver on jobs. So for me, my leadership style is to really lead with purpose, hire for potential, and guide for performance. And I feel when you put all these three together, it can be a potential winning mantra for you as a leader and for your company as a business.
Great. Thank you so much, Nishala. I like how you said we need to explain digital leadership and making sure that everyone understands it in very simple language, even to a 5 or 6 year old or a young girl sitting in a rural and remote community. What is it that we can provide to her? And in terms of digital leadership, how can we empower her? And also, I like that you mentioned that listening is key. And I think this is a very, very good point. Chloe, what do you think is the key to successful digital leadership? And what is your leadership style?
Hey, thank you so much, Anuj. And thank you so much for having me today. What an amazing group of panelists we have here. I was listening and taking notes as well. So thank you very much. Currently, I head up global customer marketing for Facebook brands. It was great to hear the shout out from different panelists here. But I wanted to highlight that I actually started my career in startups. I was an entrepreneur in the last company I was in. I ended up selling the OTA in Australia. So I wanted to highlight that I actually went from leading a marketing team and becoming MD. I was female, less than 30, and in a foreign country. So I actually have a lot of appreciation in working in a fast-paced environment and the lens from different companies and geography. I wanted to plus one to all the things that the panelists said in terms of successful digital leadership. So I thought I might really focus on the leadership style in the environment that we live in right now. And to me, it's a combination of agility and humility. If you think about the environment that we live in, there's a lot of environmental turbulence. Be it Catherine, I think she talked about the pandemic that is unexpected. And then, of course, what we can plan for, digital transformation that we knew that was coming because of technology, right? To me, it's important for leaders to have agility is what I try to work on. And agility is not just about responding to changes. I think it's about, for leaders, how do we take the best decisions in a rapidly complex environment? Then you have to lead the teams, your teams, onto the journey and then take really sustained, effective action, right? So having agility in leadership is really important because your actions in light of the changes must be intentional. When COVID hit, for example, everybody had to pivot and we have to make sure that our teams are okay first because it's an environment where they are impacted. And then we have to think about our service and commitment to the community. And for me, it was how do we help our partners and businesses go on to digital transformation transformation very quickly. So we held webinars, we had playbooks for people to get onto the digital journey. In fact, we also launched a $100 million grant around the world to support SMBs. So we had to make very swift pivots, but be very intentional at that. And at the same time, as you're moving very fast during digital transformation, right, you mustn't lose sight of the human aspects. And this is where the humility and humanity comes in. Ultimately, you have to be human as a leader. You have to be self-aware. I think we talk about listening to other people. It's also taking feedback, seeing how you can improve, appreciating others, listening to others, and focusing on people. So I'm very fortunate at Facebook. We are a very people-first company. We take care of the people first. So it manifests in simple ways. It's like checking in when we're having meetings. In my offsites, I end off with gratitude messages to my entire team. Every quarter, I make sure I FaceTime with every single person in my team, no matter how large it is. It's with my skip level, skip level, skip level, because ultimately we want to have a better grasp on people and in essence, the organization needs, and we'll make better decisions. So to me, it's very simple. The leadership style is how do you combine agility with humanity and humility? So hopefully that helps.
I love that. Agility, humility, and also humanity. And also Candace said it in earlier, keeping humanity is also very key. How can we also make the decisions, especially during a pandemic or even a natural disaster in a small island state? Or how do we address political and economic changes? So I think this is very key. Ladies, I'm going to now mix it up a bit. Let's talk about some, work-life balance. How do you manage work-life balance as a leader in digital transformation? And maybe you could also talk about some of the challenges that you had to overcome to become a successful leader in digital transformation. Let's start with Sharala.
Okay, if anybody's been watching my camera, you could see my kids going in the back. that's the new norm. When I knew the system cannot have a background, I went like, I've got to live with this. So I'm a mom of two, right? And I like what Caroline said, and all you ladies. And it just hit me that being a leader is just being a parent. I realized that, which comes back to your whole point that how do you deal with this, especially for moms? I'm an entrepreneur. I run a company of 100 people, and I have kids that goes to school. And, I pride myself sometimes, because I'm married to a Swede, and I pride myself sometimes being or not being an Asian mom, right? A tiger mom, and knowing what the kids are doing and, being on top of it, and, an email from a teacher and I would like flip. But the pandemic has taught me to let go. Right. I had those years, my youngest was 9 and he's a boy, right? Concentration on online is like, he has like 5 minutes exactly, and I would see him in front of the PC all day while I'm working, and I will get an email from a teacher saying that, has Anton been well? Because I haven't seen him submit his work. And I go like, that's what it is, right? And how do we deal with that? Is basically I simplified my life and the expectation. The kids are young. This pandemic is not a personal issue. It's a global issue, and everybody has problems with learning, and how do you cope with that? So that was something I had to learn to let go and deal with the situation as it is. And I think that was so important, and it was life-changing for me, because as a founder and a CEO, and I think probably Chloe will understand, you want to know everything. You want to have a hands on everything. You asked how it has changed the career of mine. So just if I may add, I'm a telco engineer. So I started in the telecommunication world and then moved to become an entrepreneur. And you must understand, I'm Asian, I'm Indian, right? So becoming an entrepreneur is not what my parents fancied. If you're a doctor, lawyer, engineer, if anything else, it's a nightmare. There's no stability. If you're not working for a government, you don't get pension for life. So this is the environment I came up with, I grew up with. So today they support me with the kids and all that. It's fantastic. But I think coming from a telco background, and this is where, when I became an entrepreneur, telco was the one that was so far advanced with digital and data, because they had huge amount of data and analytics. And I think that has changed the whole need of the way I changed my career in the business that I was in. So this is 2014, 2015, where we did not have the pandemic. Okay, so you could say that that was what we thought is going to be the future for the world. And I like the rest of the the panel talking about data and data literacy. But what is really important that I do need to bring out is ASEAN as a whole, right? We have a lot of females, and females have 70% chances of a higher chance of losing their job due to digitalization. Okay, and I think that has to be addressed. And what the good news, I mean, of course, that's scary because all manual work will be digitalized and has already been in financial services and all that. But the great news is to become digital or data literate, you don't have to be an IT graduate. You don't have to be an engineering graduate, because that's what the world is moving to. As long as you're data literate, you upskill yourself to be able to use data, use your Excel, use your PowerPoint, and to be able to stay relevant. That will always repurpose you for the job you have. We have worked a lot with bank tellers, right? With the pandemic, branches are closing. So this becomes really important that women need to stay, in service, and a lot of companies are doing that. So I think that's something to look at, that all of us, how do we stay relevant as women, to be agile, but not to be afraid that this is not for the science people. This is for everybody. You use a laptop, you use an iPhone, you can use Facebook to start selling your cakes, right? That's what we call digital skills. So I hope I've answered that for you. I'll let the rest of the panel talk now.
Thank you. You're doing amazing, and hats off to you for managing your family, managing your team, and I hope you're also managing your partner. I think it's important to have good support systems, especially during a pandemic. So thank you so much for saying all these things, which is really great. Caroline, what do you think?
For me, I think I have a bit slight different view. I think I believe that there's no such what called work-life balance. What I more believe is work-life integrations, because you cannot separate your work and your life in any point in time. So I think better we have to integrate our work and our daily life. So I will refer it as a more on the work-life integrations rather than the work-life balance, which we are aiming but difficult to achieve. So I think for me, I look at two aspects. How we can create the work-life integrations. I think, yes, before pandemic, when you are going for a family holiday, what you did, you bring your laptop, you bring your phone. Then every time when your family is like swimming, whatever they do, you check your email, right? So this is how our, I think, daily life have been integrated with our work. But during the pandemic time, that is a totally different story, because I live in Myanmar. We have a strict lockdown. And then now, because of other situation as well, we cannot go out, a lot of restriction coming in. So I think this is like one side, we have a lot of family responsibility to take on our shoulder. Not only the family, as all of my panelists also pointed out, we have a responsibility for our team, for our customer, whoever we are serving. We have a lot of responsibility during the pandemic time. But if you look at another aspect, I see we need to work from home. We save traveling time. We save time when we need to put our makeup, our lipstick, etc. All the saving time we can accumulate it. Then what we need to do is that the main things I would like to do, especially work-life balance during the work from home, is we need to have a self-discipline. Because sometimes we women want to do something, and especially I think all my panelists, they are coming from entrepreneur. They stick on the computer and they will continue and continue. So I think that is also not good for us in the long term. We need to balance it. We need to have self-discipline. We need to take a regular break. Work from home, sometimes we don't even take a coffee break. In office environment, you go to your colleague, chat over coffee and etc. That is strictly not possible in our work from home. So take a self-discipline, take a regular break, and also I think I set my also working time as well, even working from home. Sometimes if I feel so depressed, I think what I did is that, okay, instead of wearing a normal dress home, even for work from home, I try to wear an office dress and put some makeup so that I feel better in this, like coping all these changes which we are hitting as well. And especially I think my message to all of us is that sometimes then we cannot really aim for a lot of work-life balance and etc. Especially you have a huge responsibility. So I think sometimes we need a lot of prioritizations even at the work. Okay, we cannot do everything at one shot. So prioritization is very much needed in order to have a work-life balance. And also I think what I did is that I like the quote from Amazon CFO Jeff. He said that be stubborn on long-term vision, but be flexible on the detail. So sometimes all the detail, I let it go so that I can have more time to really look in the strategy. So I'm not micromanaging. So this is how I'm adjusting this like work-life balance or work-life integrations in this before and now pandemic period. Hope that I answer your questions.
Yes, you did. I love this real conversations, integrating work and daily life in your daily life. I think this is really interesting. And I think it's true that it's quite mentally challenging and also physically challenging when you have to do so many things. So thank goodness I hate makeup. So that's my self-discipline style. Nishala, what do you think?
Yeah, it's a great conversation, right? So it's interesting that we started with work-life balance, and then Carolyn spoke about work-life integration, and then there's this whole concept of work-life resonance, right? So I just feel like for anyone who is listening in, I think the message that I strongly believe in is, look, there's no universal definition of what it means, right? It's very personal and to you, and it just depends on you and your culture and your context, right? Because there are so many cultural nuances which come when you look at what are the expectations of, let's say, a woman or a daughter or a daughter-in-law or a mother that, you know, are a part of your existential reality, right? So I think the first and most important thing that I want to tell anybody is like, look, these choices and decisions are personal, right? So the first thing that I would say is it is your personal journey. It is your personal choices. Find ways to make choices based, given your circumstances, what you think is the best you can do, and make peace with it, right? Because that is extremely, extremely important for all of us, because it's very easy to say, hey, had I, you know, chose differently, had I done things differently, if I had done this, what could have been? But the point is, it wasn't. So I think the first thing is just be more accepting of your reality, your past, and your choices. For me personally, Anju, I have, I have just two metrics to which are my guideposts for decision making in terms of work-life balance, right? The first is a good night's sleep. The second is feedback from my kids. So if I feel my good night's sleep is being compromised over an extended period of time, I know something is wrong in some department of my life, right? It could be health, it could be relationships, it could be work, it could be just, you know, the time I'm giving to my kids, and I'm a mother of two as well. So the point is, that's one metric. And when you have these indicators, I think you need to just step back, pause and reflect and see kind of, hey, what can you do to get that equation working for you? The second very strong indicator that I have, and any mom listening in, is feedback from your kids, because kids are inherently intuitive and they will give you feedback, right? I have conversations with my kids where they say, hey, you know what, you love your Mac more than you love us. And then I know that, you know, I'm probably clocking in more hours and I'm not giving them enough time and attention, which means I need to, you know, again, listen to all this feedback that I'm getting in, both from my body and from the environment and from family, and make course corrections to adapt and embrace what is important to me. But just in terms of, Sharala and Carolyn have given some great points, but just to add on to that, I feel three things which have helped me is, one is, you know, drawing boundaries, right? I think it is very important for us to draw clear boundaries in terms of, you know, our own space, where you're giving yourself some time to probably energize and sort of, you know, engage with yourself, right? It could be just taking 15-20 minutes a day to do something you like. It could be listening to music, or maybe gardening, or maybe just having a nap, or, you know, watching Netflix, whatever you feel is kind of, you know, good for you. Sort of draw boundaries for yourself. And then I feel, you know, even though it's a digital world, I feel it is important for us to consciously draw boundaries even as far as work is concerned, right? Because you cannot go on operating at full capacity for your entire life. So you need to have downtime, you need to have time to, you know, sort of, you know, replenish your energies, recharge your batteries, and then come back to be efficient and creative and productive. The second thing that I would say is, learn to say no, right? And this is something which came very hard for me. I think a lot of it could be due to, conditioning, social conditioning, just the environment we are part of, that a lot of us find it hard to say no. I think it took me a lot of years to actually say no, and then say it in a way that people, understood that when I said no, I actually mean no, because there's the soft line between when you say no but don't actually mean it. And I think that's where it becomes a little gray and difficult for us to maneuver work and life, right? That's the second one. The third one, which I would specifically call out for women, is I don't think we are, super women. And so I think it is important for all of us to learn to ask for help, right? Be it at the workplace, be it at home, be it with family, and even with your children, right? You need to ask them for help. And, I struggled with asking for help for a lot of time, but it is something as simple as what I tell my daughters: look, I don't have time to do it. Can you please do it for me? Or, I just don't have the energy to do it at the end of the day. Can you lay the table? So I feel somewhere we need to start asking for help explicitly in a way that the other person understands. And I think, with all the, sort of tips and tricks and best practices all of us have shared, I'm sure it's going to help a lot of women if they embrace and adapt some of these things that we're sharing.
Great. Thank you so much, Nishala. I think, I like that you say that, we're not super women. And I have to say, I'm not a superwoman. So I love to get my sleep, but I do understand that it's really difficult with the work-life balance. Chloe, what do you think?
Hey, what a great conversation, right? This is always a hot topic, but with technology, digitization is redefining how we work, and it's like double-edged sword. More freedom, more flexibility, but also more meetings back to back. Like, where's time going? So for me, there's kind of four things. Before I even talk about how I do it on a day-to-day basis, I think what is really important is I actually look for companies with similar values, right? I value flexibility, I value trust, empowerment, and companies who focus on D&I. So, for example, Facebook, we pledge that 50% of our workforce comes from underrepresented groups. That includes me. I'm female, I'm Asian, I'm a mom, right? So having the company recognize these challenges makes it easier for me to be my authentic self. So I say, before the day-to-day happens, look for companies that have similar values to you. The second one I think people touch on is focus on priorities. This is at home and at work. At work, I can probably do 1,000 things, but I don't. I look at the 5 to 10 things that I can most value add to, and I stick to that. It's the same for at home. What are the non-negotiables? I know this is going to be very controversial, but I do not take any calls between 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. I'm happy to come back to do a 10 p.m. call, but 5 to 8 out of bounds. That's when I have dinner with my family. I put my kids to bed, and if I can do that, I'll be happy. So focus on what's non-negotiable for you at work and at home. The third thing is take time to refuel. I love my work. I love my life. I want to do it for a very long time. But even if you run a marathon, you have to take sips of water every now and then. So if you want to keep running, you have to unplug. You have to take a break. If not, you will feel jaded. It's normal. Like we're not energized bunnies, so we can't do that all the time. So find time to refuel, recharge. And the last one, I think somebody mentioned this, is to keep yourself accountable, right? You need to talk about it. You need to refine it. If you find something that is not working for you, change it. And if you can, take it a step further, lead by example. Because if more people can do it, then we'll all be in a better place. So hopefully that is helpful, kind of the 4 things that I kind of hold true to.
Thank you so much for that. You're all doing amazing work. You have achieved so much. You talk about the real issues, and you're trying to manage life, family, friends with your work, having water, having tea at the same time, trying to get some sleep. What would be your advice to young women who are struggling to climb the ladder? And how can we empower these young women, especially in the Asia Pacific region? Because there are lots of difficulties, there are lots of challenges, particularly young women in the rural and remote communities, women with disabilities. What would be your advice, and how can we empower them? Let's start with Sharala.
Okay. First of all, Anju, I love these women in the panel, and I hate them at the same time, right? They're so focused, they're so disciplined, and I like the way that you were telling that learning to say no. Until today, I have not perfectified it, and I think it's a cultural thing. But coming back to your question about, I think it's all related. How do you enable women in ASEAN, in this region? How do you get them to embrace what they want and what they think? And we do know the future of skills is going to be, you call it digital skills or data literacy skills, and women are at much higher risk, those who are even at work. And what about the young girls in future that want to become whatever they want and they're limited by this? And I think, I would be a personal example coming from a family that when I did tell my mom I wanted to become an engineer, my mom paused, and the thing she said to me is, who will marry you? Okay. I kid you not. My mom is all for education. Yeah. She's all for education. And I have an elder brother, and that's me. And I thought, and this is real. And I laugh about it at this. But when I was growing up, I was disturbed by that. Okay. So, and I believe there's more and more girls in this region face that what you can and cannot do, what is expected. My daughter makes this, apparently I make gestures like, as a girl, you cannot do this. And she goes like, why do you have to say that? And I have to be mindful that, I bring some of the cultures that I'm exposed to the way I deal with my own children. But having said that, each to its own, right? And I think giving reasons for not being able to do what you want is just excuses. I can give you thousands of reasons not doing what I do just because the background I'm from. I could write a book on that. But that was just excuses, right? And that didn't bother me. So my mom would say one thing and my culture would expect something, but I would do what I wanted. And I think importantly, we should never feel guilty for wanting more and for being ambitious. And I think we have the society, and when Nasha was saying that, my kids are very good at guilting me if I cannot make it to their piano recital or their basketball games. And and I go like, how many working moms are there at these games? Right? Dads are not there. All moms are there. Okay. But I do make time for what is important. So I think that is the whole nature of this, girls generally. And I think even in other cultures, this exists. Being ambitious means you are selfish. Being ambitious means, you are ruthless. You're so in the face. And I think we need to accept that, that's not what we want to, these are not the reasons why we should feel guilty for what we want. And to be able to access what we call digital skills, it's available everywhere. You heard Ms. Moso saying that they have digital, internet accessible to as many people as possible. ASEAN has an average 80% internet penetration. So I think that's literally no excuse for any child, be it woman or boy, to have access to online education. Things that not taught in school is accessible online now. So I think don't limit ourselves. Before I end this, I always have this mantra. I say, girls need mentors, and women need guidance from work, right? We need other women to be able to pick women at work to be able to guide them. And I think that lacks a lot in organizations, women trying to champion other women. And I think that has to be a conscious choice that we have to do. I mean, you talk about biasness, right? But I use this word I call selected biasness. I have to be conscious to be fair, at the same time, give more effort for other women colleagues to be able to rise above, because it's not the same. What the life they deal with, children, family, cooking versus a guy, is not the same. So I think there should be more women out there championing other women at workplace, and that helps more women climb the ladder and stay relevant. I think that's important. And children, girls need to see more women out there, more mentors. And I said yes to this for that one reason. And I realized when I felt that, I'm a tech person, so everything is very inward looking, right? Going on and talking in talks and all that, it doesn't, in the beginning, I didn't see the relevance. But I remembered a good friend of me telling me, use this platform to tell your story. Stop being selfish. That's what she told me. Okay. And I remember I call her hashtag everybody needs a friend like that.
Yes.
To say stop being, stop being selfish. You have to do this, because what you tell, coming from a small town north of Malaysia, I come from Penang, traditional Hindu family. What I say is real to lots of kids out there, and I didn't realize that until then. So I think that's important, to be able to have these girls see you and relate. Oh, I come from that. I grew up, TV, Europe is all what I knew in the books and TV. And today I'm living abroad, and this is what you have to aspire young girls to see this and say, oh, I too can do this. So I think that's important. More and more women need to do that. But thank you for having this platform.
Thank you so much. And I'm glad that we also have this great support system here. I love it. I'm absolutely loving it. So Caroline, what do you think? What's your advice?
Yes, I think we all are in Asia part of the world. Even though United Nations, they set that goal of reduce inequality at their initiative number 17, but in Asia part, that is still very hard. I think everyone acknowledges that. So I think we women, because of our society here, still are lacking of our confidence. I can give you my real example. So I think, and Shara also mentioned, we women need a good mentor. I'm very lucky. I have a good mentor in my career. So one day, my boss at the time, he was a CFO. I'm just head of accounting team. So he called me into the meeting room. He said, Caroline, from next month onwards, you will be a CFO. This is unplanned, and I never dreamed about being a CFO. So what is my first response? I say, no, your shoe is too big. I cannot do it. Boss, can you please stay for 2 more years? Coach me. I can be a good CFO by then. So a lot of excuses because of their confidence, and then he say, no, that's why sometimes we need a good leadership and mentor as well. He told me one thing. Okay, now it's Friday. Think about it, and you reply me on Monday. So my side is that I would like to go to that sea level, but at the same time, I don't have the confidence. So it's a dilemma, I think, which I'm struggling over the weekends. So then I'm on Monday, what I did. Unfortunately, I cannot sleep Saturday, Sunday. I fall sick on Monday. So I'm so happy that, okay, I can be on MC. So I text to my boss, say that, okay, I'm on MC. So he didn't respond. Everything is okay. He said, take care, everything. But evening, he called me. I give you the time. How is your decisions? So at that point in time, I think I need to make a final decision. So I asked, okay, what I need to do to be a CFO. He said, I trust you. You can do it. Just do it. And whatever assistance you need, I will support you. So I think that kind of message or that kind of short conversation really inspired me. And I think at heart, I say, yes, I will take this role. And I take the new challenge. And then over the weekend, I decided to I say no. But on Monday, my decision has changed, and I would like to take new challenge and accept this CFO role, which is I'm very, very glad that I did it, because I did that really bring, and in Myanmar, I can say that when I became a CFO, I'm the only first female C-level in the corporate society in Myanmar. So a lot of female girls also inspire a lot and etc. So of course, my boss shoe is very big. I need to do a lot of learning and etc. So my message to all the young women or all the young inspiring ladies are that we women can do as equally as men can. So don't be afraid this. Another thing is that this is my favorite quote. That is from Richard Branson. He said, if someone offer you an amazing opportunity and you are not sure you can do it, say yes first, then learn how to do it later. So this is the message that I would like to share to all the young ladies that, okay, if you don't know, just say yes first. Then after that, you take it, you take this opportunity, you take this huge challenge, and you try your best. You will do it. You can do it. Trust in yourself, confidence. Yes.
Thank you so much,
Thank you. It's really a strong motivation that we need as a woman, and we need a good mentor. Yeah. Thank you.
Ms. Chala, what do you think?
Hey, first of all, Carolyn, congratulations. There are very few women CFOs that I know, so I'm incredibly happy and proud that you got this role by somebody who believed in you. So absolutely, 3 cheers to that, and a big round of applause. But I'll just simplify it, Anju, and end with like what I feel is an acronym, which I believe has helped me, and this is what I tell to women I mentor, and I call it the ABCDE. So A is for awareness, where I feel it is important for young women to spend some time in being aware of what they want, what are their dreams, what are their aspirations, what do they really want out of life, right? I feel awareness is the starting point, because sometimes we don't even know what we want, right? Our aspirations of ourselves are probably colored by what our parents wanted, what our friends have achieved, what a neighbor has done, right? They don't belong to us, so we don't own them, right? So I think first is just be a little aware of what you want out of your life. Second is belief systems. I feel belief systems play a very, very important role in how we make choices and how we make decisions, right? Like Carolyn said, she didn't think that she was ready for it, but then we need to have people who believe in us, who nudge us, who push us, who give us these opportunities. And I feel not everybody is probably lucky to have somebody who believes in you and gives you these opportunities. So I feel a lot of us sometimes miss out on opportunities because of limiting belief systems. So I feel it is important to also just spend time in understanding what your belief systems are, and are you actually letting go of opportunities because of your belief systems. Third is, I think both Sharala and Carolyn have echoed, and I'll echo it, is confidence, right? I feel confidence is absolutely important. And the simple formula that I have for confidence is fake it till you make it, right? Because it will not be that you will always feel confident about what you have to say, your presence or your point, but the point is to still just go do it, because what's the worst that can happen, right? Somebody might laugh at you, somebody might say, hey, she doesn't know it, but they can anyway still say that, right, behind you for anything else. So the point is just do it, right? The fourth one is D, and D I feel is about dreaming big and owning your dreams, right? And one thing which I feel everyone should do is just buy a simple book today and just write a list of things I need to do before I die, because I feel having a sense of what your dreams are, what is it that you want to achieve, and your expectations of yourself is I believe very important to give you that passion and that persistence and that power to move ahead in life. Last is managing expectations, right? I feel a lot of us, especially women, get sort of bogged down, or get pull ourselves down by the burden of expectations that others have of you. I feel somewhere it is okay to live up to others' expectations, but I think the important thing for all of us to recognize is you can't make everybody happy all the time, right? So you might as well focus on your own happiness and believe that you are the chief happiness officer of your life, and play that part with grace, dignity, and with all the power you have. So here's wishing everyone who is listening in, play the role of the CHO of your life from today and see where it takes you.
Great. Thank you so much, Nishala. Chloe, your last words, please.
Oh, great. Thank you. I feel like this is a question I can uniquely answer because I was a young woman once. So I feel like I could really answer that one. So when I first took my first role, I was given an opportunity to go overseas and start a new team. I said yes to the posting, very similar to kind of Caroline here. But what I didn't tell my manager was I don't even own a passport. I've never traveled overseas until I was kind of 21. That was my first trip overseas. I was one of 5 children to a widow. And I was definitely, now looking I didn't know my childhood, but we were definitely below the poverty line, right? So I wanted to highlight that a lot can change in a few years. So 4 things. One is, I say this to my daughter and to the people that I work in, is lean into your strengths, even if it makes you different, because whatever makes you different makes you unique. So play out to your strengths. The second thing is put your hands up. You have to promote yourself legitimately. And you have to proactively manage your career. You need to decide, where do you want to go? What are some of the gaps there? And then proactively manage that and put your hands up so that you can promote yourself. And so back yourself on that one. The third one is, no matter what job or company you're in, there's something that is always common, I've found, which is you have to build relationships. And for women, we build relationships slightly differently. I don't play golf, so I cannot build relationships on the golf course, but you can build relationship that is authentic to you. So this is how allies, champions, like-minded people come about. And if you can, support other people as well. And the last one, I think we talk about imposter syndrome, and we all have them. So the way that I overcome it is work on the craft. Be very, very good at what you do so that when the time comes, you can kind of push it away. And if you run into challenges, it's okay. You know, persistence and resilience will get you there. How you respond to it is really important. So hopefully this will be helpful to all the young women out there.
Thank you so much. I am so happy that I spent 60 minutes with you ladies. And I know we went over time, but I purposely didn't cut you off because I wanted to give you women the platform to talk more. We need to give more women like you the right platform to talk. And that is why we had to continue this discussion, because you are our role models. And to the young women out there, these are the amazing women that you need to meet, to get to know each other. They are all available on LinkedIn. So please get in touch with them. Ladies, thank you so much for such a great panel discussion. I hope we can continue this discussion, and please stay in touch. To everyone, thank you so much. And like Susie said, this is like therapy for everyone. It is also therapy for me. Have a good night. Have a good afternoon, and take care.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, ladies.
Ladies, oh, it's cut off. I wanted to take a photo.